Alright, welcome to the video. For this video, we're going to see about a 1200 elo jungle Olaf game. So, jungle Olaf is not something you see very often anymore. So let's go ahead and check this game out. Swap over my RC. Let's do this up. So as always, remember to check the website, rockalockalily.com, for news, updates, the video on demand spreadsheet, and all that fun stuff. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like this video, and click the like button down below. But let's go ahead and get started with this play. So, you see jungle Olaf, and your opposing jungle is going to be Rammus. So, Rammus clears the jungle pretty fast with some mean ganks. So, Olaf can definitely clear the jungle very fast if you use your axes effectively. I'm actually not sure on the timings there about who's faster, but so I don't think you really have to worry about Rammus counter jungling you that much, because you should be jungling very fast. I don't know how Olaf works in the new jungle, to be honest. I really haven't seen him, and I haven't played him in the new jungle. He used to jungle very fast but get pretty low, and it was a risky jungle. And you used to really have to watch counter jungling as Olaf, because if they ran into you in the jungle, you'd pretty much be screwed because you'd be so low health. But the enemy team does not have a support. It looks like they have a Surge Kale, or maybe it's Morgana support actually. I don't know. It's hard to say what the enemy team is going to go, but they do have Surge Kale, which is interesting. You guys have a LeBlanc. LeBlanc is always good, particularly at low elo when people do not know how to play against her. So the thing to remember when you're playing the jungle Olaf is to use your axes effectively. You want to make sure that your axes are hitting all of the jungle camps, and that you're throwing the axe practically at your feet so you instantly pick it back up. So it's just like a little thing, like you can pull the wolves out a little bit to be able to hit them all with the axes, but it didn't matter. You're able to do it fast enough. You got a pretty weak pull on blue. That's probably not going to be nice for you. The Doran's Blade jungle is something I didn't know you could do with Olaf. That's kind of cool. You're getting pretty low in HP though, so that's kind of scary. But assuming that you can really do the rest of your jungle without slowing down too much, it'd be cool to have that. The nice stats that the Thorn's Blade provides. Tryharding? No. So one thing that I already don't like about starting Doran's Blade with Olaf is you're so low health, you're not going to be able to gank because of how low health you are. Yeah, and like you're so low health, instead of just continuing with your top jungle, you're going to have to go like wait around for wolves. I don't like this very much. I really feel like if you just started cloth armor, you could just constantly jungle and probably be like faster than you would otherwise. And once again, because you're starting with this Doran's Blade, you have too low health to really gank. So if a situation came where you really needed to go help a lane, you just wouldn't be able to. And like you could pull out a little bit to the side so that your axes were hitting all three, but it's not a big deal. It didn't look like you smited while your W was up, and you always want to make sure you smite when your W is up because it gives you extra lifesteal. Yeah, this is a very risky jungle path that I don't think the risk really pays off the reward. Like, it's a very fast time, like 340 for level 4 and double buff, but you can't do anything with this double buff now because you're way too low health. Like, you can't you can't gank, and this is I mean, I guess you're just gonna farm the jungle, which is fine, but I really feel like a cloth armor, you should experiment with a cloth armor sort, because it'll give you a lot more flexibility in what you do. This seems very rigid in that all you can do is jungle, and if you get counter jungled in the slightest, you would just die. So I would experiment with possibly starting cloth 5, just try it out, or even Vamp Scepter, because they might just let you be a little more healthy in the jungle and allow you to gank and just be more flexible with your route in general. So, and like the route that you're doing is I mean, it's gonna get you 6 fast, but like I'm not 100% sure what the benefit of getting 6 early on Rammus or Olaf. It's not like getting 6 early on Nocturne or Warwick, where you really need 6 to be most effective in ganks. Like, if you look at what happened with your route, you have a 5 o'clock level 4 red buff gank, which I feel would have been way faster with a cloth armor 5 HP pots. But that was a really good read and good situation to go gank. You saw how overextended the Kale was, and you have red buff, and that would be a strong gank, and you went with it. So that's a solid play right there. If we look at your farm levels, you're actually highest CS on your game, so you are farming on your team, so you are farming extremely well, which is good. It's very good. And you know, if your lanes don't need the ganks, it's actually totally worth it to just sit in the jungle and AFK farm. There's a lot of farm to be had in the jungle, especially if you're able to clear it fast. Like, Olaf is very able to clear things fast. Yeah, Ezreal is fed. One thing is that, and I didn't say this, but when you went back to buy, you should have picked up a ward or two. You had the money for wards, and you just didn't buy it. So with those wards, you could have helped ward top, because Irelia doesn't have a ward. You could have warded dragon. You could have just helped out warding in general around the map. You could have possibly warded their jungle to get some counter jungle on, just to give you sight of Rammus. I feel like Olaf ganks really aren't that strong. It's going to be hard to get that many ganks off, but if you feel like you could gank, LeBlanc is having kind of a rough time. One thing I do want to say is, like, I feel like this gank would have worked a lot better if you just had if you had gone around this way instead of just running straight out here. If you had gone around, I think that you would have been able to get all that damage you got off before you hit the turret, and you would have avoided taking those 2 turret hits. But that's alright. I guess you're going the Doran's Blade. You're not going to go with the Wriggles, which I don't think I agree with. I think that Wriggles is the way to go on Olaf. It just gives you so much lifesteal, and it also, like, no, I don't think anyone else is going to go Wriggles on your team. So it's always helpful to have a Wriggles just for that extra, like, Dragon and Baron control. So I mean, it's probably okay to go Doran's, and it probably works fine, but I'd consider going Wriggles, just something else to try, like starting Cloth 5 and building that into a Wriggles. The Blanca's gonna have to leave, because she's just gonna die to this Gragas if he has ulti. Oh, it's an AP Misfortune, wow. She's going Phoenix Kodak. So since this Alistar just said he'll gank mid, you should also go mid. You get those double gank on, it would be really strong. Yeah, okay, you're going mid now. So see, once again, it was silly for LeBlanc to say. I mean, I said that she needs to leave or she's just gonna die, and that's exactly what happened, but... so it was a mistake missing your axe there. I guess Ali didn't have ulti. This is a silly dive. Yeah. Okay, well at least Ali saved you, but it was a silly dive. It's hard to dive Gragas as melee because he can do exactly what he did, which is dash through the turret. Like, maybe if you had red buff that could have ended up better, but... At this point, you should just keep farming. Keep farming and try not to help your lanes too much. Like, it's gonna be really hard to gank Gragas. Like, almost impossible to gank Gragas. Kale's gonna be hard to gank, but possible if she keeps pushing. So maybe gank Kale, but other than that, like, I really wouldn't worry. That's a really, really silly dive, actually, by the enemy team. I don't know what they're doing, but that's just gonna give Irelia like 1 free kill. Good read by you to get in there. I thought that Irelia was gonna live, but good play by you to react to get there. Anytime you're near a turret dive happening, you just want to head there as your jungle, because oftentimes it's easy to pick up kills because they're going to be low health. And if you are able to get there fast enough, you could even just save your teammates. So. One thing that you're not doing, which you really should be, this is a good gank by Gragas. And this is what I was saying, like, the way you're jungling is so risky because you're staying so low health in the jungle that, yeah, anyone finds you in the jungle, you're just gonna die. And that's exactly what just happened. And that's why I really feel like a Wriggles is a solid choice. It just keeps you healthy in the jungle. You would stay high health, and all that, so... But anyway, one thing I was saying is, like, when your bot lane is doing as well as your bot lane is, like 6 kills on Ez, there's no reason that it's like 12 minutes in and you haven't taken dragon yet when your bot lane's dominating. You really, really should just have complete control of that dragon because of it. That Rammus is squishy. Yeah, Gragas is going to be hard for you to gank, but it's definitely possible. As Gragas is pretty fed, so you definitely need to start getting those ganks off. It's unfortunate that LeBlanc wasn't like really ready for that, but this Gragas is going to be a problem. But the problem is that it's just going to be so hard for you to gank him. Like, you're never going to be able to hit him, pretty much. Like, you're really going to need LeBlanc to like be able to land a silence and like maybe chains on him first. I would just keep farming your jungle. Just try to stay, like, keep up with farm so that you're in a position to carry this late game is the way that I would play jungle Olaf. Like, his ganks really aren't that good. So just looping back around for another gank is a pretty good idea, especially because Kale's going to push. And yep, going right there. I don't think you needed to ulti. It was a pretty big waste of your ulti. You know that, yeah, you didn't even get hit, let alone slowed. So that ulti, I think, was a total waste, but that's okay. Whatever, you still got the kill, so it's worth it since you got the kill. But looks like you're probably going like Merc Treads into Frozen Mallet or something. Maybe Frozen Mallet and Atmos. At this point, like, I would be hesitant to give the LeBlanc blue buff, because she is like she's dying a lot to this Gragas and very fast, and you don't want to just feed the Gragas blue buffs. So you'd be a little hesitant to give the LeBlanc blue buff in this situation. Especially blue buff is actually kind of helpful in Olaf jungle, so you can just keep throwing those axes. It makes you jungle extremely quickly, but it's good of you to give it to her. I hope she doesn't just feed it to Gragas, but that's something to always consider when you're a jungler. Once again, like, you should be going and warding dragon. So one thing, the biggest thing I'm noticing in your jungle play is that you're not having any control on dragon. You're not warding it. Like, now you're warding it, which is good. But that's the first time you've warded it, and your bottom lane is like dominating, and you're not even looking to try to take dragon off of that. And that should be like your main focus. Because getting dragon would help out LeBlanc so much, who's behind this Gragas. And then the other thing you can look at is you can look at counter jungling this Rammus. You could just beat this Rammus 1v1 no problem. He's doing this really squishy build, and because of that, like, you can definitely counter jungle this Rammus. But when you're counter jungling, when you're counter jungling, like, you have to be careful because especially because LeBlanc is getting owned in mid so hard. You really have to be careful when you counter jungle, because if Gragas comes, LeBlanc's not going to be able to stop him because Gragas is so far ahead. But still, like, if Rammus ganks bottom and you're up here, you can go check his blue buff. Or, like, if Rammus ganks top and you're down here, you can go check his red buff, stuff like that. One thing Ali is doing that is a big mistake is, like, Ali is roaming and leaving this Ez by himself. And it doesn't matter how fed Ez was, Ez is not able to 2v1. So even though Ali is like roaming, it's actually bad for this Ezreal because this Ezreal is losing the lane now, and that's not really anything that you can do. But as a jungle, like, you need to recognize like when you're stronger than the enemy jungle and try to take advantage of that with counter jungling. Like you're stronger than this Rammus, that's for sure. And you also, like, you should have taken Dragon at least once by now because of how well your bottom lane was doing in the early game. But you had 0 Dragon control, and that's very important. That's something that you really needed to do this game. So, and now like their jungle just died. You guys should be looking to Dragon because they don't have a jungle right now. Or you should be checking their blue buff, which is what LeBlanc's doing. Look, they have 2 people top in their jungle, and their jungle is dead. That would have been a completely free Dragon if you had gone there as soon as Rammus died, which would have been a good play. But it said you guys are gonna chase for like these 2 kills, and you guys are just gonna get owned. So you're just wasting a lot of time by doing this instead. LeBlanc wasting spells when Kaale's invincible. It's okay, that should be a dead Kaale. If that's a good trade, because like, well, I guess LeBlanc had actually picked up a kill. I thought LeBlanc was still like 0-3, but so that was a pretty good ulti. Ulti definitely was necessary there. I don't know if Ghost was, but you lived, so whatever. But I really can't stress how important, like, you're just ignoring Dragon. And like their jungle died top and their mid roam top, and you didn't get Dragon, and that would have been like the freest Dragon of free dragons. And it's probably like would be a little harder to do Dragon because you don't have that Wriggles, and it goes back to talking about the Wriggles thing. But yeah, I think going like a Negatron here, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Since this Gragas is really scary. The MF's building AP, Morgana's AP, Rammus does a lot of magic damage, Kaale does a lot of magic damage. I think that the Negatron is a good choice because you're playing against almost all magic damage. So the dagger is a little confusing to me. It makes me think maybe you're building a Triforce. I don't think I would go Triforce on Olaf, but or I don't even think I'd go Phantom Dancer on Olaf really. Olaf does pretty decent damage. Like the 340 true damage is really strong, and the like he does pretty good just base damage. You could just build Tanky on him and be fine. Like you just went Frozen Mallet Atmas, that'd be a very strong build. Yeah, and someone actually, this is a very good point. Sell pot and buy wards. Yeah, I can't, like, I mentioned this before, you're not buying any wards to the jungle. And what jungle does is jungle really allows you to, like, since you're roaming all over the map, it's very easy for you to ward where your teammates are not warding. Yeah, this dragon's, like, free. Like, Rammus was dead, you just took bottom turret. This was an easy dragon. Now it's too late. Now you can't do this because you just saw Gragas, you see Miss Fortune and Morgana coming. This is a bad dragon for you guys to do. And because you have no Wriggles and no lifesteal outside of like your innate W lifesteal, dragon just wrecked you. They should have easily contested that. Like they would have won if they contested that, and I don't know why they didn't. Now they're fighting, but I don't know why Ez is staying and fighting, but that was really silly. At least you guys got Dragon, but like I said, you did the Dragon too late. Like, you had your opportunity to Dragon, but you didn't do it, and then you went back and it was too late. And you guys should have just, like, yeah, you guys just need to get out of there. And like if you had Wriggles, that dragon would have happened a lot faster too, so you would have been able to get out of there faster. And like I said, I don't agree with this Zeal. I don't think Zeal is what you want on Olaf. But yeah, you need to be ward. Okay, good. You finally picked up some wards, so that's really good. But you should have been warding all game. Like every back you've made, you had enough money to pick up wards and you didn't. And that's a big mistake in your play that you want to avoid. You always want to ward when you can. I don't think you had to go the long way here. I think you could have just gone that way and been fine. But I don't know why Ali ulted. That was silly. But noticing a lot of wasted ults so far. But That was a pretty good gank. You should note that like they're all top, which means that you could either run top to try to help them, or you could check their lower jungle. Like Rammus does have a red buff, but he got a kill, so it's hard to tell. He probably does. His red buff probably isn't up, but his red buff would have been totally free for you to take there. Good way to pick up that Rammus kill. You guys could. Well, you actually can't Baron. Like if you had a Wriggles, you might have been able to Baron off of that actually. But because you don't have Wriggles, it's iffy. You don't have the sustain to do it. But a Wriggles with an Ezreal, if he W's you and gives you that nice attack boost, you could do Baron very quickly. So, yeah, they're still up here fighting with Ezreal, yeah. MF is really low, so good decision to just start fighting the Kayle instead of continuing chasing the MF. It was silly, like, you should, I don't know why you went back in, you should have just ran, you're way too low. And like, you have no lifesteal outside of your W, so you really don't have that much lifesteal. There's no reason to run back in there, but that's okay. You also didn't ult that entire fight, and the ult would have helped a lot. The reducing incoming damage by 30 is big. And it would have prevented the slow from Kayle. I don't think it would have prevented the damage bonus that Kayle's Q gives her, but the slow might have helped a little bit. Don't know. They all just died for like no reason. But you guys should look to be pushing this mid turret. If you push this mid turret in, it gives you a lot more control. It opens up control of the bottom jungle. It opens up control of their blue buff. And so it's very important to get this mid turret in, which it looks like you're pushing. But since you're the only one pushing, yeah, like they're just gonna send everyone there to stop that. So. This Rammus is so squishy, like, he's going Zeal and Wriggles, he's so squishy. Like, you can just blow that Rammus up very quickly. Yeah, LeBlanc just, like, insta-gives you. Definitely a mistake for you to run in there, but you should be able to get out fine, so. You had to blow your ulti, but that's okay. I really should be able to get top turret, since they just really overcommitted mid. As long as you don't lose this turret, it'll be okay, and as long as you don't lose Baron. That Kayle ulti is so annoying. And once again, like, you stay low health and stick around a lot of these fights with really low health. And you either just need to leave because you don't have enough lifesteal to get the life back, or this is another situation where it'd be very helpful if you had Wriggles. That Wriggles would just provide you with that extra lifesteal that could possibly keep you in these fights even though you're so low health. So, one thing is, like, you shouldn't chase this from MF. Like, MF moves really quickly because of her passive. So you didn't catch her, and you wasted a lot of time. Like, you could have had that mid-turret push. You could steal their red buff, which is up. These guys literally just walked by it. But instead, you really chased too far, overextended, and Gragas just, like, got a free kill. For no reason other than greed. I feel like if Ez hadn't backed off and just got a couple auto attacks, he probably would have killed the Gragas. Ez is going Blood Razor, which is really a weird choice for Ezreal. I've never thought about that. I could see it actually working because each Q would proc the Blood Razor, but only in certain situations where you feel like the enemy has a lot of high health, low magic resist people, which I don't think is this game, but it's interesting. I've never thought about Blood Razor on Ezreal. I wouldn't go with it in general on him, but I could see where it wouldn't be horrible. I think it's a mistake to go with it on in this game, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't think Triforce is the way to go on Olaf. I think just building tanky is a much better option. So instead of chasing this Rammus around, you could be like in here helping your Alistar, but You guys were at least able to pick up the kill. That was a good bind by Morgana. It's a silly dive by you. You're definitely going to die there. I don't know why Ali went into, but it was a very silly idea to dive that. It's very hard to dive Morgana, especially if she has ulti. But those bindings and that ulti, if she has it, are very effective at stopping tower dives. So there are a few champions that you never really want to tower dive, and those are like Morgana, Soraka. Like Soraka with triple heal is like such a bad idea to dive. That armor boost and then 3 heals, like, don't do that. What are some other bad champions to dive? Like Vladimir's a bad champion to dive because he just pulls while you take all this tower damage. And if you ult you're taking like increased damage from the turret. There are a bunch of champions that like it's just a horrible idea to dive on, and Morgana's one of them. So. Well, with your jungle play, I really like Dragon. Dragon. You should have taken 3 dragons in the early game because your bottom lane was doing so well, and you just like you didn't even think about it. And because Dragon is so important and you should be so focused on that, Wriggles. Get the Wriggles. Wriggles is so awesome. Yeah, good. I think that's a good choice, chasing the Kayle out first, because this Morgana, like, honestly, who cares about this Morgana? She's a support Morgana. She's really not that scary. So I think it was a good play by you to chase the Kayle out and then go back in for the Morgana. But yeah, I really think you needed to go Wriggles, or at least just pick up a Vamp Scepter. Like, some kind of lifesteal would be so helpful for you. Like, if you just notice, in every fight you just get so low, and you can't get that back because you just don't have lifesteal outside of your W. So, like, the biggest things you're playing noticing so far is you need to focus on Dragon as a jungle. Like, you need to recognize that, hey, I could have taken Dragon like 3 times during this fight. And then you should probably get a Wriggles, because that lifesteal is just would be so helpful for you. Like, I wouldn't go Triforce, I would go Wriggles. Like Wriggles, Frozen Mallet, Atmos, something like that. Looks like maybe you're going Warmogs now. I think that's a mistake. I think Warmogs is a great item if you're able to pick it up early to be able to charge up. But at this point, I don't think you should go Warmogs. I think it's too late for that. I'll unlock the screen so we can actually see what's happening down here. This Gragas is like a serious problem, and like in team fights, you should probably just like ult and go straight, like ult and ghost and just charge this Gragas. But yeah, if you're going Warmogs, which it looks like you probably are, I would really recommend that you consider possibly going like Wriggles, Frozen Mallet, Atmos instead of like Warmogs, Atmos. I think Frozen Mallet's very good on Olaf, and I kind of like Frozen Mallet, Atmos better than Warmog Atmos now. Like, you could just go phage into the Atmos and then finish your Frozen Mallet. This is a good fight for you. You guys see Rammus bottom. Like, if you kill one right here, this should be a free Baron for you guys. So good pickup kills. Don't chase this and just go do Baron. Like, this is such a free Baron for you guys. This is ridiculous. You just killed 2. Their jungle is bottom. Like, this is very frustrating. And you guys all just grouped up for MF and Gragas ultis, which is a big mistake. So you guys just turned pretty much a free win for the game, because that Baron would have been huge. And instead you guys grouped up and backdoored a turret, and Gragas is able to get ulti off on 5 of you, and yeah, that was a big mistake. So you guys turned like a easy free Baron into like just 1 turret and trading another 1 kill for 2 kills. So a turret and 1 kill instead of Baron. And Baron would have been such a better play right there. So as jungle, you should be making these calls. Like, you should be calling like, hey, look, free dragon, come get this dragon. You guys just kill bottom. Or you should be calling like, hey, we just picked 2, their jungle's bot, let's do Baron. Everything like that. So okay, so you built a Force of Nature. I was wondering if you're going to do that with that regrowth, which is fine. You definitely need the MR, and the move speed's always very helpful on Olaf, because Olaf gets kited. So I think that's fine. Zeramis is definitely going like a troll build with 3 Zeals. But yeah, it looks like maybe now you're building Warmogs. You have another Ruby Crystal. I really hope you don't get Warmogs. But I have a feeling you're going to. This could either be Phage into a Frozen Mallet or Warmogs. Since you already have Triforce, I would recommend against the Phage Frozen Mallet at this point, but I would be very careful. Yeah, I would. Alright, that was very silly of Morgana to ult you, since you're ulted. Like, you just ignore her. Yeah, you guys can just blow these guys up. Ez should, Ez, that was silly. Ez could have just right-clicked the minions and lived, because he has, like, Bloodthirst here. He has a lot of lifesteal. It's bad play by Ezreal. He could have just started right-clicking minions and been fine. But once again, like, you guys have free Baron right now. You just killed 4 if you get this MF. And it's a free Baron. Like, Alistar could tank it. You guys could switch off tank. Like, Ellie and you could switch off tank, and this is just such an easy Baron. It's going to be rough for you since you don't have Wriggles. If you had Wriggles, you could just tank this Baron. Just straight tank it. Once again, Wriggles. Wriggles is so nice on the jungle. Like, if you're a jungle that, like, Wriggles is a good item on, you should just get Wriggles. It's so awesome. That was silly of the guy, I guess, to ult that. You have a lot of MR, so didn't do very much damage. He does have Void Staff, but still. So, like, in this game, I hope when you watch this, you realize, like, how much Wriggles would have helped you in this game. All those fights where you're too low health to do much, you would have had higher health if you had Wriggles. You would have had that Baron if you had Wriggles. You would have had, like, dragons if you had Wriggles. Just, like, there are so many situations in this game where Wriggles would have been very nice for you to have. I don't think Triforce is a terrible item on Olaf. I think it can work, but I really feel like Wriggles is core. Yeah, and you guys are going to do Baron so fast because this Ezreal has Blood Razor, so that's going to be like a ridiculously fast Baron. Alright, looks like you're building a Frozen Mallet now, which is okay. Since you have the Triforce chance to proc this slow, the Frozen Mallet slow isn't going to be as helpful as it would be otherwise, but it's a very risky Baron. Like, they're all up, and you don't see where they are, so you just got to assume that they're coming. So you got to be ready to fight them. They actually don't know. Greg is just chilling middle, so they have no idea. This is how you know this is kind of a low elo game, because like the enemy team didn't have Baron warded, and that would have been such a risky play to make. Like a 4-person Baron when you don't know where any of the 5 of the enemy team is. That should have, like, if they had that warded, that would have lost you the game. That was a very, very bad Baron timing, and the only reason that worked is because they were bad and didn't have it warded. But so you guys, now that you have Baron, you guys are really strong. You should be able to just really clean up. So now that you've picked up a few kills, like Kale's dead, Grag is dead, Ram is dead, Morg's dead now. Nice axe, KS. Yes. you guys should just go push. Like just shove mid. You guys can get inhib right now. Like I really doesn't need to go bottom. You like this red buff is nice to steal, but like you could just steal that after you go take their inhibitor. You should also just kill the little minions. Like you're probably gonna get the red buff next time it spawns anyway, because you guys are ahead in this game and have map control. But you guys might not be able to get inhib now. They're gonna be up in like 10 seconds, so you guys have to be a little careful about that. I wouldn't run from like MF's Make It Rain. It doesn't do very much damage. But now you guys need back. Like there's no reason for you to stay. Like literally no reason to stay right here. This is a mistake. Like once you get the inhib down, no reason to stay. You just leave. Like once again, there's no reason for people to be right here. This is just dangerous. Okay, well Phantom Dancer 2-0 Ramus is not really a threat to initiate, so oh, the trolling. Oh, you're right, MF is AP. You're right. Make It Rain will do a lot of damage since MF is AP. Someone in IRC just corrected me about that. I totally forgot their MF is AP. So it was a good idea to run out of that Make It Rain since it is AP MF. My bad. I've seen an AP MF like once ever. So I'm not used to that, but you guys should have won the game already. You guys this is one thing that you'll see at low elo too, is like people don't recognize like when to push and when they have the game won. You guys have the game won right now. Like you're 12-4 and like Ezreal is, well, okay, he has 10 deaths, but he's pretty fed, and like LeBlanc is really fed right now. You guys should just go group up, push top, and just win the game. And this is something that you should be doing. Like, you should be leading your team. You should be like, guys, group up, push top. Yeah, like it's 52 to 28 kills. You guys have Baron. Like this game should be over. Ramus is bot. You guys can just dive this because it would be 4v5. The general rule of thumb is like turret counts as one person, so if it's 4v5, you can generally dive that. 3v3 is risky to dive, but Alistar came in, so that's fine. Yeah, Irelia's just going crazy, so. Ramus is like 100% useless. But alright, as far as your game, like, you need to control objectives, and that includes like enemy buffs and all that when you jungle. Like, you should have had complete dragon control early game, but you just completely ignored it. You also need to buy wards when you're jungling. Like, every time you went back to base early, you had enough money for wards, you just didn't buy them. You also should seriously consider starting like Cloth 5 into Wriggles. That jungle that you did, where you were like 200 HP or below the entire jungle, is so risky. And you saw that by the one time Gragas came up here and found you and just instantly killed you. And that's what happens when you try to pull that jungle. Like, if you try to pull that jungle against more experienced players, they're going to recognize, hey, Olaf gets really low in the jungle, and they're going to specifically look to find you at low health in the jungle. So you need to be really careful about that. So consider going Wriggles because it keeps you healthy. And consider going like Frozen Mallet to Atmas instead of the Triforce. Other than that, like, you did pretty well in team fights, and you played like a pretty solid Olaf mechanically. Just some of the decision making, like, you need to control Dragon, and try not to waste your time like ganking Gragas, because it's gonna be so hard for you to gank Gragas as Olaf. But other than that, it was a pretty decent game, so you played pretty well. But Dragon. Your job as jungle is to control Dragon. And when you see Ramus building squishy ass like move speed Ramus, you can counter jungle him all day, so. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording now, and I'm going to take some questions in IRC for a little bit, and I'm probably going to call it a day. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video below. Subscribe to me on Owned. Follow me on Twitter at rockalackalililol. And check the website, rockalackalili.com, for news and updates. Alright, thanks.